everybody. I'm wearing a hat that's similar to Mrs. Piggle Wiggle. And as you might remember, yesterday I started a book about Mrs. Piggle Wiggle. This is one of my favorite stories that I always read to my class every year when I taught first grade. And in the story yesterday, I described Mrs. Piggle Wiggle. I talked about her house and just what a unique person she is. And I showed you a drawing that I did of Mrs. Piggle Wiggle and her upside down house. I think that's the most exciting thing about her, living in that upside down house. So today I'm going to continue where I left off. And I'll go back a little bit, and it says, for the first year after she built her house, Mrs. Piggle Wiggle lived there all by herself except for Wag and Lightfoot. You might remember that was her cat and her dog. She was very lonely. Then one dark rainy afternoon, while she was baking sugar cookies, yum, and thinking how much fun it would be if she knew someone besides Wag and Lightfoot to invite for tea, she happened to look out her kitchen window. And there, coming up the street in the pouring rain, dragging a big suitcase and bawling, was a little girl. Mrs. Piggle Wiggle wiped the flour off her hands and hurried right out into the rain and invited the little girl in for tea. The little girl's name was Mary Lou Robertson, and she was 8 years old. She was running away from home. She told Mrs. Piggle Wiggle all this after she drank 3 cups of cambric tea and ate some sugar cookies. She said, "I'm running away from home because I hate to wash dishes. All I do is wash dishes. I am just a servant. Dishes, dishes, dishes. Wash, dry, put away, that's all I do. My mother doesn't love me at all. She isn't my real mother anyway. She probably got me out of an orphanage just to wash her dishes." Mary Lou began to cry again, so that the next sugar cookie got quite soggy before she finished it. Mrs. Piggle Wiggle said, "Isn't she your real mother?" Mary Lou said, "She says she is, but no real mother would make you wash dishes. Wash dishes, wash dishes." "Now that's a funny thing," said Mrs. Piggle Wiggle. "I mean you're hating to wash dishes so much. Because you see, I like to wash dishes. In fact, I enjoy washing dishes so much that a cause of great sorrow to me is the fact that I only have dishes to wash for me and Wag and Lightfoot. 3 or 4 dishes a meal, that's all. When I wash dishes, Mary Lou, I pretend that I am a beautiful princess with long golden curly hair." Mary Lou's hair was jet black and braided into 2 stiff little braids, and she had apple blossom skin and forget-me-not blue eyes. "I have been captured by a wicked witch, and my only chance to get free is to wash every single dish and have the whole kitchen sparkly clean before the clock strikes. For when the clock strikes, the witch will come down and inspect to see if there's a crumb anywhere. If there are pots and pans that have been put away wet, if the silverware has been thrown in the drawer, or if the sink has not been scrubbed out, the witch will have me in her power for another year." Mrs. Piggle Wiggle looked at the clock and jumped up. "Oh, it's 10 minutes to 4, Princess, and we have so much to do. Hurry, hurry, hurry." Mary Lou also jumped up and began carrying the tea things to the sink, and Mrs. Piggle Wiggle whisked them in and out of the dishwater, and Mary Lou dried them, and Mrs. Piggle Wiggle hurried as fast as she could and put the cookie things away. And every once in a while she would stop and say, "Hark, Princess, do you hear the thump of the witch's big gnarly cane?" Then Mary Lou, her braids bobbing up and down with excitement, would say, "I hear it, Princess. It is coming closer and closer." Soon the kitchen sparkled. The dishes were washed and dried and put away, and every crumb had been swept off the floor. Mary Lou even curled Lightfoot's tail neatly around her legs and smoothed Wag's fur. Just before the clock struck, Mrs. Piggle Wiggle said to Mary Lou, "Princess, I must leave you now, but show the witch your work, and oh, I do hope you will be freed." Then she went upstairs, and pretty soon down the stairs came a terrible old witch with a long black dress, a tall black hat, and a big gnarly cane. Mary Lou was very scared until she saw the sparkly eyes of Mrs. Piggle Wiggle. She showed the witch the kitchen, and the witch took out the cookie pans and carried them over to the light to see if they were clean and dry. She got down on her knees, squeaking like a rusty gate, to see if Mary Lou had swept under the stove. She felt inside the teacups to see if there was sugar in the bottoms, and she put on her glasses to examine the sink. But she could not find anything wrong. So she handed Mary Lou the key to the kitchen door and screeched out, "You are free, princess, but I will get you again, never fear." The witch clumped back up the stairs, and in a few minutes, who do you think came down? Mrs. Piggle Wiggle. "Well," said Mrs. Piggle Wiggle, "do you see why I like to wash dishes?" "Oh, Mrs. Piggle Wiggle, that was the most fun I've ever had," said Mary Lou. Mrs. Piggle Wiggle said, "Of course you can have more fun than I can, because you have so many more dishes to wash at your house. If I only had more dishes and could take longer, I would be a princess with curly yellow long hair, apple blossom skin, blue eyes, and a beautiful voice, and I would sing songs over the dishpan. Also, if I had more dishes, I would have the witch ride through the night on a broomstick, and I would creep out on the back porch to see if she was coming. I could hear her land with a thump on the roof, and I would slip upstairs to see if she was going to slide down the chimney or thump down the stairs. Oh, there would be ever so many exciting things to pretend, if only I had more dishes to wash." After a while, it stopped raining, and the sun came out, and Mary Lou took her suitcase and went home. That night, her mother, it really was her mother, of course, almost fainted when she came out to the kitchen exactly 27 minutes after dinner, and Mary Lou was sweeping the floor. And all the dishes were washed and dried and put away, and everything was immaculate. Mrs. Robertson rushed in and called Mary Lou's father, and he came out to the kitchen and pretended to fall on the floor with surprise. And then he said to Mary Lou's mother, "I like your new maid, madam. In fact, she is so much better than Tilly Slopwash, who used to be here, that I think we should invite her to the movie picture show some early evening." Then Mary Lou told him all about Mrs. Piggle Wiggle, and Mary Lou's mother said, "Oh, yes, I remember seeing that odd little house. She sounds like a charming friend. And if you are certain that she invited you, you may go over there tomorrow after school." The next day after school, Mary Lou went to see Mrs. Piggle Wiggle. She took her best friend, Kitty Wheeling, with her, and Mrs. Piggle Wiggle was very glad to see them and showed them through her upside-down house. And do you know what she served? Tea and cookies. And this is a picture I drew for today. I didn't color it, but I drew, can you see that? Whoops, there's Mary Lou, and she says now, "It's fun to wash dishes." And Mrs. Piggle Wiggle, the witch, said, "You are free, princess." Look at her. And what fun they had washing dishes. And I don't think that Mary Lou will ever forget her adventure with Mrs. Piggle Wiggle. Today, out of the ABC Read, Sing, and Play book, I'm going to sing about the letter R, capital R, lowercase r. Rory's dog Rover runs all over, Rover runs. Roy's dog Rover runs all over, Rover runs. Rover races, Rover chases, Rover chews on Roy's shoelaces. Oh yes, Rover runs all over, Rover runs. Can you see that little dog, Rover? And did you hear any words that started with R? Yes, Roy's dog, Rover, runs, that's right. Anything else? He races, that starts with R. Yes, I'm going to sing it one more time. Roy's dog Rover runs all over, Rover runs, woof, woof. Roy's dog Rover runs all over, Rover runs. Rover races, Rover chases, Rover chews on Roy's shoelaces. Oh yes, Rover runs all over, Rover runs. And this is the capital letter what? That's right, S and lowercase s. They look alike, don't they? One's just taller, one's shorter. And this one, sing, sing, sing a song, sing a silly song. Singly, jingly, ringly, swingly, won't you sing along? And look at them having so much fun singing silly songs. I always like to make up songs and sing. Let's sing it one more time. Sing, sing, sing a song, sing a silly song. Singly, jingly, ringly, swingly, won't you sing along? Did you hear a word that started with S? Yeah, sing. What else? Song. Yeah, a silly song. Both of those are S words. Singly. Did you ever hear that word before? These are some rhyming words. Singly, jingly, ringly, swingly. Yes, those are some great words. And before we go today, I'm going to read about Rumpelstiltskin. This is a book of fairy tales. I love fairy tales. And Shane, my grandson, asked me if I would read about Rumpelstiltskin. This poor miller has a very clever daughter. He's right there. He boasts about her. She, my daughter, is so clever that she can even spin straw into gold, he tells the king. The king takes the daughter to his palace. He shows her a room with some straw and a spinning wheel. Spin it into gold by morning or you'll die, he says. Whoa. The daughter sits down and cries. She can't spin straw into gold. Then a little man comes in. What will you give me if I spin it for you, he asks. I'll give you my necklace, she says. The little man spins away all night, and by morning he has spun all the straw into golden thread. And then just like that, he disappeared. The king is very pleased with the gold. He shows the daughter another room with more straw. Spin that into gold by morning or you'll die, he says. Soon the little man comes in. What will you give me if I spin this bigger pile of straw into gold for you, he asks. Oh, you can have my ring, says the daughter. In the morning, the king comes in. Look at the gold. The little man has spun all the straw into gold. The king is very pleased, but he's greedy. And you know what he wants? More gold. He takes the daughter to a bigger room. There's a bigger pile of straw. Spin it all by morning or you'll die, he says. But soon the little man comes again to help. What will you give me now, he asks. I've nothing left, says the daughter. Promise to give me your first baby when you're queen, says the little man. In the morning, the king is delighted. Marry me and we'll always be rich, he says. And soon there's a royal wedding, and the miller's daughter becomes the queen. The queen is very happy when her first baby is born. And then the little man comes. If you can't guess my name in 3 days, I'll take your baby away, he says. The queen thinks of names all day and all night. When the little man comes the next day, she says, is it Tom, John, or Henry? The little man says, no, 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 no. You are wrong. The little man comes again the next day. Is it Brandy Legs or Crooksy or Boggles? Asked the queen. No, no, no. One more try and then I'll take the baby, says the little man. The next day a messenger comes to the queen. I saw a little man in the woods. He was singing, my name is Rumpelstiltskin, he says. Oh, thank you, says the queen. Your name is Rumpelstiltskin, said the queen. Ooh, the little man is very angry. He stamps the floor so hard, his foot goes through the floor. And then he disappears forever. And the queen did not have to give Rumpelstiltskin her baby. Oh, that's a funny name to have, Rumpelstiltskin. Imagine if my name was Grammy Rumplestiltskin, or if Papa's name was Rumpelstiltskin Blackwell. I bet everyone would kind of laugh at us. But anyway, the queen figured out what his name was. And I want to say good night. Is Rumpelstiltskin out there? Rumpelstiltskin, where are you? Oh, I only see there's Amron and Logan and Owen and Dylan and Nathan and Shane and Ellery and Greg and Harper. And I think Gabby and Megan are there too. Oh, anyway, good night to all of you. I love you.